Prepare yourself for this discourse, y'all. We're going to have a lot more of this discourse time and time and time again. I can feel it. I can sense it. It's not going away. It's just not. So John Fetterman is now getting ripped over the fact that he's been in the Senate a number of times, both doing press conferences, taking votes, etc., and he's worn gym shorts and a hoodie. He's worn the John Fetterman costume, let's call it. So the right had an absolute meltdown over this fact. So this is in the New York Post. The quote in the headline is, "Unprofessional and an insult." Senator John Fetterman has been accused of showing a lack of respect after bringing his hoodies and gym shorts to Washington, despite one media outlet calling it a sign the Pennsylvania Democrat is making a strong recovery from depression. All right, let me pause there. Yeah, the media could reel that in a little bit. What are you talking about? Dressing in gym shorts and a hoodie is not an indication one way or the other that he's getting better from depression or he's still depressed. It's just how dude dresses, right? That's just how he dresses. So to take any grand conclusion away from that, I think is kind of silly and definitely speculative. Fetterman, 53 years old, who is still dealing with speech and auditory processing issues as a result of a stroke, was released in March from Walter Reed National Military Medical Center, where he had checked himself in for treatment. Since returning to the Senate in mid-April, the former Pennsylvania lieutenant governor has often been seen wearing the informal duds instead of the jacket and tie required for male senators on the floor. To circumvent the rule, the 6'8" Fetterman cast votes from the doorway of the Democratic cloakroom or the side of the entrance to the Senate floor, according to the Associated Press. In the same report, the wire service cited sources close to Fetterman who said his relaxed, comfortable style is a sign that the senator is making a robust recovery. So in other words, people close to Fetterman made that argument and the media parroted that point. I don't know if the media was making it also themselves, but the people close to Fetterman are saying pro-Fetterman things, like, oh, there's actually a good sign. That's the point they're making. Fetterman even kept his hoodie on for a news conference on the debt ceiling last week with 4 Democratic colleagues clad in suits standing alongside him. So look, I got to be honest with you guys. These pictures are absolutely hilarious. And the first time I saw them, I got a good chuckle out of them. So here you see roughly 8'4" John Fetterman standing there in his hoodie with his basketball shorts on. And you see all these other senators around them with their suits and ties. He looks like he was digitally put in after the fact.
Yeah.
He looked like they got some CGI experts who were like, let's just pretend Fetterman was there and throw him in there. He's let me show you the other picture. Here you go. Look at this. Look at these shorts, man.
Get it, boy. Get it, Fetterman.
They continue here. He's setting a new dress code. Vermont Senator Peter Welch joked to the AP. He was struggling, and now he's a joyful person to be around. However, not everyone finds Fetterman's informal style so charming. Quote, John Fetterman's attire in the Senate perfectly summarizes Democrats' lack of respect for Americans and our institutions, tweeted conservative comedian Tim Young. First of all, conservative comedian is like a contradiction in terms. Second of all, you're going to talk about respect for institutions and say the Democrats lack them? Excuse me, what was the biggest story, arguably, of the past however many years? January 6th, where the Republicans tried to overthrow the results of an election because they didn't like the outcome. And you want to talk about institutions?
Yep.
Not respecting institutions? Trump lost by 7 million votes. Yet all of his little sycophants were out there saying, no, we won. We won, and we're going to overturn the election, even though there were 60 court cases saying that we're wrong. And you want to talk about institutions? You want to talk about respect for institutions? Drop the comedian part of your title, bro. You're just a conservative. That's all you are. You're not funny. Is that supposed to be? You know what? I take it back. You are funny. That's a funny-ass point. Because that's one of the dumbest things I've ever heard in my life. In fact, the problem with the Democrats is that they believe too much in institutions. Democrats of yesteryear, like LBJ, like FDR, sometimes they snubbed their nose up at the institutions and said, no, screw you. FDR said of all the moneyed interests, the economic royalists, I welcome their hatred. I'll override them. I will crush them with my power as president, and I will fight for working people. Today's Democrats, Biden's like, I can't do anything positive because it would besmirch our glorious institutions, yes. Our institutions, yes. We're seeing it right now with the debt ceiling. Biden could subvert this institutional gridlock and say, 14th Amendment, we're just getting rid of the debt ceiling because I have the authority to do it under the U.S. Constitution. He's not doing that. Why? Because the history is that they haven't used that path to do it. So he goes, I got to respect our institutions and negotiate with Republicans who want to cut every program for working people. God damn it, man. God damn it. Let's continue. Quote, he was healthy. He could perform all of his job abilities normally, according to doctor's letter during the campaign, Now he must be accommodated and allowed to wear a hoodie and gym shorts or he will fall back into crippling depression, reacted Spectator contributor editor Stephen L. Miller. This is how you treat a 5-year-old, by the way. Quote, AP has an excuse for why Fetterman dresses like he crawled out of a dumpster, and it's a doozy, cracked WABC radio host Bo Snerdley. That was Rush Limbaugh's former right-hand man, now totally irrelevant, and also happens to be man with funniest name in the world. Bo Snerdley? Okay. Quote, voting from the doorway of the Senate chamber because you won't give up your clown outfit is unprofessional and an insult to Pennsylvania voters, raged another user. Resign now and let the voters select a better senator. You're so brave, you're so strong for saying these things, telling the truth. Quote, it's now unreasonable to expect a senator to be able to communicate and wear a dress shirt, another Twitter commentator said. We've turned the Senate into a rehab facility and the press thinks that's fine, added a third. Not all Republicans are unsympathetic to Fetterman. Senator Katie Britt, a Republican of Alaska, reportedly bonded with him over having children of a similar age and the fact that Britt's husband, Wesley, is the same height as the Pennsylvania senator. Britt also visited Fetterman while he was struggling, undergoing treatment at Walter Reed. Quote, when I walked in that day, his energy and demeanor were totally different, she said, adding that he's now loud and outgoing. Fetterman even yelled, Alabama, at her. Oh, I guess she's from Alabama, not Alaska, my bad. At her down a hallway when he caught sight of her last week, giving her fist bumps and asking about her family. That shows you the difference the treatment can make. It's just incredible to see, Britt told the outlet. Look, all reports are this guy was suffering from severe depression. He went to Walter Reed. They got him on some sort of, medical regimen. I mean, I think he's probably taking some strong antidepressants, maybe doing talk therapy as well. It does seem to be the case that he has genuinely improved, which, by the way, it's a good lesson out there for everybody. Don't be ashamed. Like, if you're depressed, I mean, nobody would look down on you if, like, you just catch a virus, right? Or some other illness, bacterial infection, whatever, or you have some autoimmune. Nobody looks at you like, it's a lack of will. But there's the same thing with your brain. Whether it's PTSD, severe anxiety, depression, or whatever, you could just have a thing. It's not a moral failing on your part. So just go get help because you'll feel a lot better. So there's no reason not to. There's no harm in it. There's no shame in it whatsoever. A lot of people, try to put that on the situation, but there is no shame there. So I think it's a wonderful thing that he got better. Now to the dress code thing, what's my takeaway?
Fuck the dress code. Who gives a fuck?
Whoop-de-freaking-do. Couldn't care less. Now look, I like looking official and spiffy every now and then, right? Most of the time when I do this show, I'm wearing a button-down shirt. And one of these jackets. It depends on the studio I'm in or whatever, because sometimes the certain chair will like puff up the back of your jacket and you look weird. You look like you're like the Hunchback of Notre Dame, like this. So it depends on the setting I'm in, but I like to wear this stuff as much as possible. But also, and everybody who knows me will tell you this, dog, when I'm doing the show, I'm usually wearing slippers. And in many instances, I'm wearing sweatpants. Now, I try to match the jacket with the sweatpants. You guys can't really see the legs, so I don't really care about the bottom part, right? But I'm like half Fetterman, half trying to care and look a little more professional. That's what I am. So I'm like right smack dab in the middle. And as somebody who's right smack dab in the middle,
who cares?
Because here's the deal. Don't we have better things to talk about? Don't we have better things to debate? This is going to be the outrage of the day. This is going to be you wore cloth on your body that's not the cloth, that's the approved version of the cloth, and I'm not going to stand for it, sir.
Yeah, it's fucking
cares,
nonsense.
Bro.
There's
Nobody cares about
bigger fish to fry, bigger issues to worry
on
about.
What Lurch is wearing. Literally, nobody gives a shit. You're disrespecting our institutions. From the same people who were doing apologetics for the Stop the Steal people who tried to do a literal coup. Stop the approval of an election, which was won by 7 million votes. I don't want to hear shit about institutions from you guys, okay? But now, having said all that, defending Fetterman on wearing this stuff, there's something legitimate to go after him for this week. I don't know how many of you guys have seen this or not, but John Fetterman apparently did not sign on to the new rollout and the new Medicare for All bill. Excuse you?
Come on, Fetterman.
Excuse you? You campaigned on this. This was one of the things that you ran on, which made the left like you.
Come on, Fetterman. What are you doing?
And now they did a whole press conference launching the new Medicare for All bill. It was a big deal. It's like, hey, we're still fighting for this stuff, and a bunch of people signed on to it. You know, all the usual suspects were there. But John Fetterman did not sign on to the new Medicare for All bill. You wanna go after John Fetterman? By all means, have a field day. Knock the crap out of him on that. I hope you call his office. I hope you're loud with him. I hope you say, this is a betrayal. You stabbed us in the back. You want to know why? Because it is a betrayal. You did stab us in the back. But this just shows you how hollow our politics are. That instead of talking about the substantive policy that he backed off of, Lord only knows why, we're talking about you wore basketball shorts. Oh, my goodness.
I gotta call the Fetterman office.
How could you? Look, the fact of the matter is the Senate and the House, they are feigning seriousness. It's kabuki theater. Why, I can't be corrupt. I can't be an idiot. I'm wearing a suit and tie. Yes. No, you are corrupt. And most of you are idiots. And you're not fooling me with your show, with your clown show. It's not a head fake enough for me to think, oh, they must be serious. Look at their attire. No. So in a sense, Fetterman dressing like that is more honest. He's dressed schlubby, because he is, and he feels schlubby, right? And it also happens to be the case that he just stabbed the movement in the back with this move on Medicare for All. So even though I'm defending Fetterman on the dress thing, I am most certainly not defending him on backing down on Medicare for All. And neither should you. And the conversation should be over that. Should not be over, you wore a hoodie, and now I got eye cancer. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. And none of you really give a shit. This is all fake. It's all fake outrage. Oh, how could you? Please. Nonsense.
Thank you, Secular Talk. I love you. I love Kyle Collins.
Oh, there's a lot of them. There's a lot of fucking geckos. Damn. Woo. Headshot. Get this gecko meat. Much. Get it, boy! Woo! Yeah! Woo! There we go. Do you guys have any water? Alright, I'm not gonna take everything from them because their clothing's only worth 2. Well, that's a little weird. I think it should be worth a little more than that, but